Don't blame Mr. Charlie. Mr. Charlie is just a man, and he's doing the best he can. Child, when you teach that, it teaches girls to settle for less. It teaches girls that no matter what this man does to you, no matter how this man treats you, girl, you gotta stick it out. You gotta stick it out. He's just a man. It's DizastrousBeauty. It's DizastrousBeauty. It's the way for me. It's DizastrousBeauty. Change up your look daily. It's DizastrousBeauty. It's the way for me. It's DizastrousBeauty, baby. It's DizastrousBeauty. Hey lovers, it's your girl DizastrousBeauty, and I'm coming back with another video. Today's video is definitely a different one, honey. I have been trying to record this video for I don't know how long, but I'll get all into that at another later on. You will see it in in the intro, the real intro. This is just me introducing the video. Child, I ain't know what an intro is. Whatever. Anyways, y'all, this video is definitely a different one. This video is about how I live 3 lives in 1 year. I know that sounds crazy, girl, but once again, I'll get into it in the next clip. But this part right here is just to show you, like, I'm gonna be doing my little makeup and my little lipstick, you know, doing my hair. You guys will see all that. Well, not really doing my hair, just straightening it and stuff. Anyways, I digress. I want to say, if you're not already subscribed, girl, because that subscribe button's not costing not 1 red cent. And if you like these videos and want to see more videos like this where I am running my mouth, because you guys know your girl can talk. Your girl can talk. So if you like these sort of videos, make sure to like this video. And if you're not already following me on all my social media platforms, I am DizastrousBeauty on both IG and TikTok. I'm Helton Miss C on Snapchat, and I'm DizastrousBeauty on Twitter. Now, let's get into this video. So I want to start with the quote of this video, and I don't know if I'm gonna actually leave this part in or if I'm gonna like type it out at the beginning, but I want to go ahead and say it just in case I do forget. The quote is, "My worst days now would have been my best days a year ago." Y'all like that? That is actually by Chrissy. Okay, that is actually by Chrissy. Go Chrissy, go Chrissy, go Chrissy. Hey, like, girl, I be cutting up. Here's to growth, boo. Okay, here's to growth. Okay, so I want to go ahead and say I have a new handy dandy notebook. Y'all, I'm a writer. Like, I like to write. I don't mean I'm actually a writer. I just like to write. I always have. So I get these little cute notebooks from like TJ Maxx and places like this. This one says, "Go forth and be fabulous." Okay. Yes, honey. Yes. And I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna be reading from this, but it's on the side. So if you see me kind of looking to the side, that is why. Also, don't judge my candle if you can see it. I got it from Scent. It's not Scentbird, Scentbox. I got it from Scentbox. I didn't know they had candles. Girl, did you know Scentbox had candles? I had enough perfumes. I mean, the perfume has been perfuming, but I had enough of it, and I went to looking around and I realized they had candles. I love a candle. And this one is called Bitter Bee. I'm not gonna say the word, but I keep it in my office because I now have an office space. So I keep it in my office, but I really like it, and it smells good. Like, at first it had to kind of grow on me, but I really like the smell of it. Anyways, I digress. So I wrote an intro, and I wrote, like, for every part of this video I did write something. And honey, I wrote a lot last night. Like, I must have been in my cups. I'm pretty sure I was in my cups. So I wrote a lot. So if you see me kind of looking over here reading, that's why. Okay, girl, that's why. I also will be doing my makeup. I'm not gonna really talk about the products that I'm using. Hopefully I'll link them, because you can do that now on YouTube. But if I forget, just ask me, girl. Just ask me, because a lot of times I don't really know the shades of stuff. I pick up stuff that looks similar and try to just make it work. Okay, so don't come for me, just ask in the comments or be like, "Girl, can you tag them products?" and I'll do it. But anyway, so in my intro,
but I already did my eyebrows. Let me go back. I did already do my eyebrows. I did already prime my lids for the eyeshadow and all that. You guys know I always do a basic eyeshadow look. That's just me. I'm not that girl that can just like cut a crease and do all the extra shenanigans. I'm not her. I'm not Brittany Vaughn. Okay, don't come over here expecting to get Brittany Vaughn. If you want Brittany Vaughn, go to Brittany Vaughn. But anyways, I digress. So I have on here, it says intro. Child, first let me say this is my 3rd time recording this video. I kid you not, y'all. This is my 3rd time filming this video. The first time I kind of waited too long. I filmed it in January, which this particular video needed to be filmed in January because it's a basic 22 recap. But I waited too long, so then I was like, I need to film it again. So then I filmed it again last month. Girl, I kid you not. The clips are gone. They're gone. Don't ask me where they at. They just gone. They completely disappeared. So I'm kind of in a new space in my life, you know. Instead of getting mad when stuff like that happens, I now say things like, you know what, God must not have, like the message must not have been messaging. You know what I mean? Like what I was trying to get across must not have been getting across. So instead of being mad, I'm like, you know what, let's just do it again. Let's just do it again. And that's kind of where I am in life. That's like the phase that I am in life. And thank God for growth. Thank God for growth, girl. Won't he do it? Won't he do it? Okay, so that's where I am. So, take 3. Take 3. Okay, so I know the title is strange. I know that, you know, the fact that I'm saying how I lived 3 lives in 1 year is like, girl, what? Girl, what? You only got 1 life. I get it, but I technically lived 3 lives in 1 year. The title is strange, but living it has been stranger. Okay, girl, stranger. Okay, sometimes reality, not reality. What is that? Sometimes reality is stranger than fiction. And y'all, I am working with new teeth. I'm on like my 2nd set of teeth, and sometimes, honey, I be struggling. So bear with me, girl. Bear with me. But anyways, my friend actually said it to me, and I was like, girl, you're right. You're absolutely right. She was like, you know, you basically lived 3 years this year. I mean, 3 lives this year. And I was like, you know, I had never thought about it like that, but I have. And the 3 lives that I lived were, I went from being married to a single mom to in a relationship, all in the span of 1 year. And yes, that does seem fast, but let me break it down to you. Okay, that's what this video is, me breaking down to you what seems to have been a very fast and a very impulsive year. And I can understand how on the outside looking in, it could have seemed very, very impulsive. And you know, I don't provide a lot of context because, girl, I'm a Virgo. You know, I always say that about Virgos. One thing a Virgo gonna say is, I'm a Virgo. Every time I watch an interview with a Virgo, that's one thing, and I guess because Virgos like to be Virgos. You know, we may not be the most likable sign of the zodiac, and I don't think we care. I don't think Virgos care. I don't think we care. You know, a lot of signs do care about, you know, not being liked. Virgos don't care. So one thing about me is, I know how to make it seem like I'm being extremely open while being extremely private. You know, they always say Scorpios are private people, but Virgos are private people. We just know how to make people feel like they're involved in our lives without involving people in our lives. Catch that tea. But one thing about me is, I always listen to advice, and I'm reading from my little paper here. I always listen to advice, but I make my own decisions, because the only person that has to live with my decisions ultimately is me. You know, even though I have kids, and you know, you say, well, your decisions affect your kids as well, but my kids are gonna grow. They're gonna grow up and they're gonna be gone. They're gonna be living their own lives. You know what I mean? And I'm not a martyr. I am not a martyr for my kids. And I talk to my kids and I explain, you know, any choices that I make. Now, granted, had I met this man and Juicy, because Journey is Journey. And she's like one of those people that just likes everybody. So we kind of have to like, you know, take what Journey likes with a grain of salt, because she loves everybody. But Edwin is one of those people. He's a Gemini. And Edwin doesn't like everybody. If you have any Geminis in your life, you know that they don't like everybody. They just don't. And had Edwin said to me, Ma, you know, I don't like him, or I don't like where you're going, I don't like where you're leading me, I would have had to put my feelings to the side and say to somebody that I really liked. But luckily that was not the case. So ultimately though, in the grand scheme of things, I have to live with my decisions. So I always make my own decisions. I listen to advice. I'll let people give me advice. I'll take it in, but ultimately I make my own decisions. So I said, because I am the only one that has to live with the consequences of my actions. So when S hits the fan and I make a mistake, I can only blame Chrissy. And that's something that I really live by. I try not to listen to too many people, because in the end, you know, you can blame other people for, well, I shouldn't have listened, I shouldn't have took your advice. Well, ultimately, you shouldn't have took that advice. I can't blame my friends for taking their advice. I can't blame my family for taking their advice. Ultimately, you shouldn't have took that advice. The next thing I said, live by the rules that you and only you make. Middle fingers up to society. F society. And by that I mean, child, don't go to jail. Ain't nobody trying to go to jail. But in the end, live by your own rules. Live by your own terms. F what everybody think you're supposed to do. If you feel like things are going in this direction, go in that direction. Follow whatever you want to follow. Follow wherever your heart, your mind, or whatever is telling you to go. And if it messes up, you have nobody else to blame but you. And that's how I live. That's how I always live. Now, let's get into these 3 lives in 1 year. We're gonna start with life number 1, girl. Let's start with life number 1. All right, so we are on life number 1. And I'm pretty sure I did a cute little transition that said, you know, life number 1, unhappy marriage. And so we're going to start in January of 2022, girl. We're going to take it on back, honey. We're going to take it on back. Okay, this is well over a year at this point. So I remember saying to myself, this year is going to be different. Child, probably putting on makeup. I forgot all about that. I'm going to be starting with this one size Patrick Star. Well, no, I'm not. I love this palette, but I'm not going to start with it. I'm going to start with my IYS Beauty bronzer. And I'm going to be using that. Girl, I'm not going nowhere. Honey, I'm in recovery. I am in recovery, girl. So I can't go nowhere. So I'm going to use this bronzer and, you know, just throw a little something on there. But anyway, so I wrote, I remember saying to myself, this year is going to be different. I am going to be different because I could feel myself growing intolerant. Examples of my intolerance are, things that I were an example, child. An example of my growing intolerance was things that I were able to ignore before I could no longer ignore. So, you know, at this point, I'm gonna keep it a whole buck with y'all because, you know, like I said, I'm a Virgo and I'm private, and I literally only would show what I wanted you guys to see, you know. And once again, I will never ever bash any of my ex. It's not any of them. How many ex-husbands you got, girl? I will not ever bash either of my ex-husbands because, for one, you know, even though it didn't work, you know, they were my friends first, you know, and I don't feel the need to bash them. I think it's okay to tell your truth, but I don't think it's okay to bash people on the internet, because to me, child, when you put on the internet, it lasts forever. Girl, like Cardi B, forever.
A girl have beef with me, she gonna have beef with me forever.
So I don't believe in doing that. I can tell my truth without bashing anybody. With this particular marriage, I felt myself growing intolerant of the back and forth. You know, I was getting to the point where I was realizing, you know, girl, y'all are not compatible. That compatibility that you thought was compatibility is not compatibility, okay? Like, we would break up often. And I know that's something that you guys are like, what? You know, because that's not any aspect that you ever saw from us. We would break up often, and we would break up often because, once again, we were not compatible. You cannot fit a square into a circle. You know what I'm saying? I like Libras. You know, Libras are that sign that is likable to everyone. Everybody, you know a Libra somewhere. You know a Libra, and you know they're very likable people. You know, now I'm going into this one size Patrick Star palette. You know that they are very likable, charismatic people. And what I've learned is that a lot of times, people that I used to get involved with, I like them as friends. I like husband number one as a friend too. He who was a counselor, child. Virgos, I don't know about y'all. We supposed to be compatible with the counselors, but yeah, counselors are very emotional people, and we are not. But you know, I noticed that I would really want to make, just because somebody I was able to be a friend with, I felt like they could be my spouse. Not always the case. So I was getting to a point where I was realizing, and I think he was too, I think we both were realizing, you know what, I like you as a person. But I don't quite like you as my mate forever. I don't think I can do this mate forever with you. And so there was a lot of makeups to breakups, and that is not something that I want in a spouse. I just don't. I don't want to be breaking up in my marriage. I don't want us to have separate relationships just to stay in this relationship. We have separate relationships, you know. And it wasn't a thing of just him, if you catch my drift. It wasn't a thing of just him you know, having separate relationships. It was a thing of both of us having separate relationships, and then like, oh, okay, well, we'll try to get back together. We'll try to make it work. No, this won't work. So the constant, you know, back and forth of trying to make things work just was not working for me. And at that point, I was like, you know, Chrissy, it's time for you to figure out what you want in life. Like, what you actually want versus what you have been told to want. And girl, that is saying something. That is saying something. I feel like a lot of us as women, and child, I can't speak for any other race, but I can speak for the black people that were around me. It was like, kind of like, you're supposed to grow up, you're supposed to get married, you're supposed to have kids, you know. And with that being the mindset, it makes you kind of settle. It makes you just feel like, I only got this amount of time. Time's are ticking. Time's are ticking. Like, let me hurry up and get married so I can have kids and do things in the right order, you know? And I felt like that's how I had kind of lived my life, where I was settling for the sake of being married. And I have said in my other video, you know, girl, insert a card somewhere here so you guys can watch it. I refuse to be married just for the sake of saying I'm married. I refuse to be married just for the sake of saying I have a husband. That ain't your girl. That is not your girl. And I don't know if I've said this in a video, but this has always been one of my favorite quotes, because And my grandmother loves to say to me that, girl, you are Elizabeth Taylor. You are Elizabeth Taylor, Chrissy. You're on, like, when I got married to my second husband, she was like, girl, you are 28 years old and you're already on husband number 2. And I remember my direct quote to her, and this is still how I feel. And I'm definitely in a different mindset, but this is still how I feel. And I've even told Ron, who is my current everything. I have even told him that I told her this, and that is still how I live my life. If this one don't act right, I'll be on husband number 3. And that's my mindset. It just is. And you know, I know that a lot of traditional people is like clutching it. Girl, they clutching their pearls. They are clutching their pearls at that. But that's my mindset. And let me be great, Lola. Let me be great. That is my mindset, and it will stay my mindset. And that's the mindset that I'm gonna teach my child, because I feel like when you teach your kids and the people in your life, when you teach them, the women, especially the girls, especially the young girls, when you teach them that they have to stay in something, you gotta make it work. Don't blame Mr. Charlie. Mr. Charlie is just a man, and he's doing the best he can. Child, when you teach that, it teaches girls to settle for less. It teaches girls that no matter what this man does to you, no matter how this man treats you, girl, you gotta stick it out. You gotta stick it out. He's just a man. It's making excuses for men to treat you like crap. And ain't nobody gonna treat me like crap. I would rather be alone. I kid you not. I would rather be alone than settling for less just for the sake of saying I got a man. I would rather be alone. God better right, bless her soul. I would rather be alone than to say a piece of a man is better than no man at all. Them lies, honey. Them lies. So that's where I kind of was in January 2022, and I had got to the place where I was soul searching, and I was doing things mentally for myself to kind of just get myself ready to get out of this completely. Like I already had one foot out the door. He already had one foot out the door. We were already at that point, but I was really mentally preparing myself like, I feel it approaching. I feel the deuces approaching. So that was my January. That was my January. Alright, y'all, so I do have my lashes on. I did my eyeliner and my lashes off camera. Y'all, these lashes came from, I think, West Kids. I don't know. I found some random lashes. I stuck them on because I am out of stock in my own lashes. And now that I'm kind of getting settled, I'll probably reorder, but I didn't want to reorder while I was in the process of moving, so yeah. But we are now into my second life. And you know, you like, girl, you know, your first life was short. Honestly, that first life was very long. It was very long, girl. But as far as this video goes, child, excuse my drink. As far as this video goes, it was relatively short. Because like I said, I had already been in and out of my marriage. And as far as marriages go, like, marriage is not like having a boyfriend or a girlfriend. You know what I'm saying? Like, marriage should be taken way more seriously. And I don't think he nor I took it as seriously as it should have been taken. Like, I don't think we should have ever got married. Let me just keep that a buck, okay? I don't regret my baby, just like I don't regret Edwin from my first marriage. But you have to be able to look back and say, girl, you know y'all shouldn't have been you know y'all should have never went there, okay? So yeah, even though it seems short as far as this goes in my life series, it wasn't short. You know, that marriage was not short. it was child, still going on. Technically, I mean, we will be divorced next month, but yeah. So we are in life number 2, and my second life is life as a single mother. I had been in this life before, you know, obviously with Juice. He don't like me to call him Juice no more. With Edwin and, you know, and his dad, I had already experienced this before. So in a way, this wasn't new to me, but it was new to me as far as living by myself. When I divorced Edwin's dad, well, I don't like to say it like that. When me and Edwin's dad got a divorce, I moved in with my aunt. So even though I was a single mother, it didn't feel like I was a single mother. And once I moved out, I went straight into my second husband's home. So I never really, y'all, let me just keep it a buck, I never lived by myself. But anyways, we're going into February of 2022. And the quote that I wrote was, sometimes things fall apart so better things can fall together. And that is my favorite Marilyn Monroe quote. Like, I love that quote because, you know, in my life, that quote has proven true time and time again. And I have learned to just go with it, you know, to kind of just go with the flow of life. This foundation I'm put on is by Becca, and it's a little light. Well, I like for my foundation to be at least 2 shades darker. So the foundation isn't actually light. I just like for my foundation to be dark. So I mix it with this Clinique WN96, which I really have to get some more of. But anyways, yeah, that quote has proven true. And what I wrote was why I use this particular quote. Sometimes we stay in relationships not because we are in love. Now, let me not say, even though I loved my ex-husband, number 2, even though I loved him, I don't think I was actually in love with him. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, I don't think a lot of... I don't honestly, at this point in my life, I don't think I had ever been in love prior to this relationship. But we'll get into that either later on in this or in another video. But, you know, sometimes we confuse loving someone with being in love with them. And I honestly didn't even know that was a thing, but I digress. So it says, sometimes we stay in relationships not because we are in love, but because we are comfortable. This month was the official breakup, but honestly, the marriage was dead since like a year or 2 prior. This was just the official end. So I say that because I feel like, once again, that people thought I moved fast. Like, I think when people in my real life didn't feel like I moved fast, like once they knew, you know, once I was able to talk and tell them everything and not sugarcoat things so much, because I'm private. You know, like I said, people think they are in my life and they know a lot, but you only know what I allow you to know. That is kind of my personality. It always have been. But I am able to do it in a way that people really think, you know, I'm really letting them completely in when I'm not. All of my Virgos out there, comment down below if you know what I mean. If you know what I mean. You know, that is just, I don't know if that is strictly a Virgo trait, but I know that Virgos are as private. Virgos can be very, very private in general, but we're able to be private in a way where nobody has a clue. Nobody has a clue that we're even being private. So, yeah. And so, technically, my marriage had been over a long time ago. You know, I had already mentally checked out. I think honestly he had mentally checked out too. You know, I don't sugarcoat things in general, especially with my spouse, and I'm pretty sure he knew I had checked out. But Libras have a tendency to like to sugarcoat. So I don't know if he would ever really admit that he had checked out as well. But, you know, child, that marriage was dead. The thing is, like I said, we were friends. And I think when you're friends with your spouse, it can get confusing. Where both of y'all are confusing being in love with just loving one another. And can even get to the point where you're upset about the relationship ending, even though y'all ain't been in this relationship for a very long time, honey. Let's keep it a whole buck. Y'all have not been in this relationship for a very long time, but you can still go out and enjoy each other, but you're enjoying each other as friends, not as lovers. And yeah, honey, that relationship was dead. And I kind of want to insert pictures here and there. I hope I am. I don't know how I'm going to edit this video, but I want to insert pictures because I'm now going through this phase where my aunt used to always say, you know, a smile should reach your eyes. And I really didn't know what that meant. I didn't. I know what it means now. I think all of y'all have seen the difference in my eyes, but this is like the first time my eyes twinkle. Like my eyes twinkle. When I smile, you see it. You see it in my eyes. You see it in my essence. But if you go back and look at old videos and old pictures of me, you will see that my smile never met my eyes. And that wasn't to say that I was just like this miserable person, because I wasn't. I didn't think I was, but I wasn't necessarily a happy person either. You know, I had happy moments, but I wasn't necessarily happy. So in February, you know, we ended up, we tried for a little bit. We tried a second round of making it work. And, you know, it just didn't work. It didn't work. And it hadn't worked in years, girl. I don't know if it had ever worked. I don't know if it had ever worked. Like now, with the relationship that I'm in right now, I'm not sure I had ever been in a relationship that worked. And that sounds sad, but honestly, it's not. It's not sad to me because I got my babies. I got my babies. In my opinion, I have really good co-parenting relationships with their dads because honestly, both of their dads were meant to be more of friends for me. So now we can be more friends than lovers because, child, I don't know if we were ever really lovers. I don't know. But anyways, that was February. So we officially came to an end, but we had broken up years prior. Honestly. Okay, so then we head into March of 2022. And honestly, y'all, March of 2022, I was living on my own. I was getting ready to head into my hot girl summer, honey. Okay, I thought I was going into my hot girl summer. And what I wrote is, minding my business, getting ready to have a hot girl spring/summer. Dating sites. Like, honey, I consider dating sites. And I know a lot of people are just like, dating sites. What are you doing? Why are you on a dating site? You know what I mean? Girl, I love a dating site. I'm not gonna hold you, sis. I'm not gonna hold you, sis. And honestly, Ron is a little embarrassed about the fact that we met on dating sites. He's embarrassed by the fact that we met on a dating site. I, on the other hand, I call dating sites grocery shopping for men. Like everything that I do, pretty much, I do online. I grocery shop online. I shop online. I home decor shop online. It is not much that I do in person. Stores make my social anxiety go through the roof. So I do mostly everything online. So why not find my man online? So I call it grocery shopping for men online. And I was ready to just date. And honestly, what do they call that nowadays? Divesting. Like black women are divesting. Girl, don't ask me what that means. But from what I take from it is that basically they're done with black men. So I don't know if that's actually what it is. If it's something else, honey, comment it down below and let your girl know. But basically, I was like, girl, you know what? You gonna try to step outside the box, honey. That wasn't going so well for me because yeah, that's just not my cup of tea, honey. I can barely date light skin, let alone date outside my race. Let's just give it a buck. Okay, I might have been able to do black, Hispanic, or African, or something like that. But as far as anything else, you know, I struggle. But I was going to give it a shot because I'm open-minded in general. I am an open-minded person. I am somebody that don't judge much of anything. I am somebody that you can basically tell anything to, and I probably won't judge you, you know, short of sadistic stuff, you know what I mean? But in general, you can tell me a lot and I won't be, oh my God, clutching my pearls. Like, girl, what? You're what? Like, I'm not that person. So I'm open-minded. So I was like, you know, Chrissy, you probably could, you know, do this. Girl, I kept trying, and every time somebody other than my own race would write me, I'd be like, what? So, I wrote on here that I had been trying, you know, to kind of step outside my box. It wasn't going so well for me. Like, you know, they were writing me and I couldn't get into the conversation. I couldn't do it. I tried and I couldn't do it. Yeah, I would say y'all teach me how, but honey, I don't need to know how no more. I think I have met my forever. So what I wrote is that on March 27th, you know, I got on the sites on probably the 20th of March or so, and on March 27th, this happened. And what I wrote was, I felt like I had been reunited with my soul, which is crazy because I didn't even realize a part of it was missing. Honestly, y'all, I had forgot I wrote that until last night when I was going through my notes and kind of switching, you know, notebooks and rewriting things and like how I'm gonna do this video. I had forgot all about that. And because I do something, what they call it, automatism, or I don't know what they call it, but basically I write without thinking. I just kind of write things from my heart, and I have completely forgot that I wrote that. But I remember when Ron wrote me, and I remember looking at him and I'm like, oh God, he's my type. Do you really want to go back down this road? Girl, do you really want to go back down this road? I have a type. I have a type. I have told you guys this before prior to meeting Ron. I have told you guys this. I have a type. My type is brown, slim, in the range of like about 5'8" to about 5'10"-ish. Beard, low haircut. I have a type, you know. I'm not Ray Sherman or whatever they name you. I ain't got no type. I definitely got a type. Everybody in my family knows a Chrissy type, and you know, he was my type. And I was like, do you really want to go down this road? And I was like, I can't resist it. And I started talking to him. I started talking to this man. And I remember immediately being smitten. And I didn't even know. Normally, I do have a habit. I am very much into astrology. I love to know what somebody's sign is immediately. But for some reason with him, I didn't even check for his sign. We had already gotten to the phase of, you know, you have my phone number. You know, you don't just go on dating sites, girls, giving everybody your number. You just don't. And I want to say he was the first person that I gave my number to on the dating site. And child, and you know, we were literally conversing, and I was like, hold on, we're saying the same stuff. Like, we was getting to the point where we were saying the same stuff, and I was like, wait a minute. That's literally where I was, like, mentally. Wait a minute. I said, what's your sign? I know I said, when's your birthday? I don't typically ask men what their sign is, because men can be a little weird, especially black men. They can be a little weird about zodiac and astrology and all that stuff. So I'll ask, when's your birthday? So I asked him, when's your birthday? And he was like, September 21st. When's yours? I was like, September 18th. He was like, wow. I was like, literally, y'all, I told him, I was like, I have been anti-dating a Virgo forever. And at this point, I am so smitten. Child, you could have told me you were a Cancer. And y'all know I'm anti-Cancer. Dating. Love platonic relationships with Cancers were dating. He could have told me he was a Cancer and I would have kept talking to him, because, you know, we were kind of just getting to that point and I had never felt this before. Whatever this was, I had never felt it before. So I was like, I have always been against dating another Virgo, because I always said I can't date myself, child. I am a lot. I don't want to date myself. Who would want to date? I don't want to date me. I'm anal. I have all these weird quirks and issues and blah. I don't want. I can't deal with me. And so it was just crazy when he said it, and I was like, well, that explains a lot. That explains a lot. God, I feel like this video gonna be so long, so let's just like speed this crap up, okay? So in April, you know, I started really, at this point I wrote, started really getting to know the new Virgo in my life, which was Run, but I also started to get to know the Virgo that I had been neglecting for 33 years, which was this one. And you know, I had spent so much time, you know, first I was a kid, I was growing up, you know, listening to whatever my parents told me to do, blase. Straight after that, you know, instead of really spending time with myself, I instead got married young, had a baby young. You know, I was a mother by 22. So I had just like spent a lot of time putting other people before me, and instead of getting to know me, I neglected me. You know what I'm saying? So at this point, I was like, you know what, it's time to get to know you. It's time to get to know Chrissy. This is the first time I had ever lived on my own, basically. You know, even though I still had my kids, you know, my kids, they would go and stay with, as far as Edwin, he would go and stay with his grandparents, and so Journey would go stay with her grandparents and her dad. So, you know, it was a lot of time for just me, and time to just get to know who is Chrissy. You know, who is Chrissy outside of being a wife? Who is Chrissy outside of being a mother? Who is Chrissy outside of being a daughter? Who is just Chrissy? And I was getting to know old girl. And I was kind of liking old girl. And another thing that I did in April was I started facing my fears. And one of my fears was the dentist. A big fear of mine had been the dentist. I was so embarrassed about my teeth and the neglect that I had allowed, and how long it had been since I've been to the dentist, and just really facing the issues of that, you know. And so I made the consultation. I made the appointment, you know, and that was a big step for me. You know, it may sound very small, and you may be saying, ew, girl, you were 33, you were 33, and you just now deciding to, you know, really deal with your teeth. But it was a mental block there for me. And so I made that consultation, and then I was also, you know, stepping into, you know, settling into this new role as a single mom. And honey, being a single mom wasn't as bad as I thought. One thing about a Virgo, and I know you guys get tired of me saying Virgo, but one thing about a Virgo is very comfortable being alone. Even though you guys may not be able to tell, it's like, girl, are you ever alone? Is there always a man somewhere around? One thing about a Virgo is we are okay with being alone. And I have said this before, I thrive after a breakup. I live my best life after a breakup, honey. I be doing my big one, and I may be single for short periods of time. I always have been, honey. It's always a man somewhere. There's always a man somewhere with me. But I do tend to thrive after a breakup. Like, I don't mope a lot. I will give myself that time. What Beyonce said, I give myself one day. I give myself one day to mope. And from there, it's like, who's next? Who's my next victim? You know, dun dun dun. That's what Journey always says. Not who's my next victim, but the dun dun dun. And it said, and really enjoying living on my own full time for the first time in my life. Honestly, I was finding happiness. And I said full-time because, once again, even though me and my ex-husband number 2 were married, we spent plenty of time not together. That sounds crazy, right? But we did. We spent plenty of time not together. So this was my first time being alone full-time, but I had gone plenty of times without being with him. And it also, because we had gone plenty of times not together, it made the transition easy, to be honest, because what may have been a super hard transition had we always been together, you know, there were no makeup to breakups. Had that been the case, it probably would have been harder, but it was way easier because a lot of times we weren't together. A lot of times he wasn't there, you know? So this was just like a permanent, you're not here. And this one was you're not coming back. I knew in my soul it wasn't no coming back. I just knew it. So this was a transition phase of me, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm not gonna hold you, sis. I loved it. And that sounds really messed up depending on who you are and how you take the story in, but honestly, I enjoyed it. It's kind of just who I am. I also want to mention, this is the time I met, and I actually wrote all these moments down because it was such a big thing for me, this new relationship. Like, how I felt was so different that I wrote down every big moment in it because I felt like it was going to be something that I would tell my grandkids about one day. And you know, that may sound crazy, but I had never felt that before. I never felt the need to write down big moments in relationships. But I kind of just felt in my soul that this was going to be it. And so every big moment, every stepping stone that I had with Ron, I wrote it down. And so this was in April was the first time Ron and I met in person. And because we are both Virgos, our relationship moved at a very slow pace that we both were comfortable with. And like I have said before, it may have seemed fast for you guys, but in reality, we moved very slowly. We moved very, very slowly. Like, we started talking online in March, and we didn't meet to mid-April. We were still talking and texting over the phone, and mind you, Ron and I lived in the same neighborhood. Catch that tea. Never had met before. So, you know, it's crazy how God works. All right, y'all. So now we're heading into May. Okay, and at May, I am a freaking soccer mom. I'm a soccer mom. Spring is journey season. Like, Edwin, I allowed to play football and in the fall, and I allow him to play basketball in the winter, and then, you know, the spring is Journey's time, you know. So Journey was doing soccer, so I'm a soccer mom, and I'm really into it, you know. Even though I was doing it on my own, I paid for her to start soccer on my own, and, you know, I was taking her to practices on my own. Granted, her grandparents did help a lot. And, you know, it may seem like I'm shading my ex-husband number 2. I'm not. At this point, he was working on the road. So, you know, a lot of the help that I got, and even now, a lot of the help that I get with Journey is from her grandparents. And her grandparents, honey, her grandparents are her parents. They're her second set of parents. And I'm completely okay with that. I find, you know, I do know that some mothers can get jealous about this thing. And I know I have said this before, and a lot of you guys are like, yes, honey, I have those grandparents too, and they're a parent. I am somebody that believes in a village. I love my village, and you know my village is not all just my family. It is mostly my village, because my mom died when I was 3, and my grandmother is not where she was when she raised me. So a lot of my village is my kids' paternal grandparents, and they are a blessing. They are a blessing to me. Journey calls her grandmother mom. She calls her mom. She called me mom too, but she calls her grandmother mom, and I love it. I have no issues with it because her grandmother is her mom. And honestly, she looked more like her grandma than she do me. I know you guys think she looked like me, but girl, insert a picture so you can see Journey with her paternal grandmother. She looks like her mom. And I love it. So, yeah, I was settling into that and, doing soccer. And honestly, y'all, I was loving it. I was loving the idea of being a soccer mom. I also did my consultation for my teeth in May. And they told me, child, the damage is done to your top teeth. This is what's going to have to be done. If you want details of that, good child, check out this video. So it was, even though that was a rude awakening for me, I was happy that I was in a place to do something about it. It is what it is. I had made that mistake. I had to live with the consequences, and I was okay with living with the consequences. I was a big girl. My ex-husband and I were also getting to a place where we were learning how to co-parent. In May, Journey ballet recital happened, and right when her ballet recital happened, her paternal grandparents got sick with COVID. And then, her dad got sick with COVID. Then her paternal grandparents got sick with COVID. So her dad was like, I don't know if I can make it to her recital. He ended up making it. He brought her flowers. It was a nice moment. And I'll insert that picture here. She also had her graduation, and we were all there. And I love that. I am somebody that believes even if you aren't together with the parent, y'all can still make it work. You can still make it a cohesive and nice environment for your child, because ultimately, no matter what happened in your marriage, no matter what happened in your relationship, if the other parent is a good parent, I will never isolate that parent. I will never isolate her grandparents. And she loves her grandparents. She loves her dad. And I will never listen to me. I will never put my feelings, whatever feelings I have, I will never, ever put my feelings before my kids' feelings. Because my kids' feelings matter to me more than my hurt feelings. Although I didn't have any. And maybe that's why it's easy for me to say it. I rarely have any hurt feelings, girl. I'm usually on to the next and on to the next. Hey, on to the next and on. I love that we can always all be there together and make memories with my child, where when she looks back, she sees everybody. When she looks at those pictures, she don't see, oh, I had to go here with my dad and then later go here with my mom and here and take pictures with my dad and here and take. No, we gonna all take these pictures together. Okay, I will be like, come on, take a picture. Let's take a picture so my baby can have those memories. It's important to me. So I wrote, I was finding out how to co-parent with my ex-husband and really starting to think as my own person outside of a mom and a wife. I had spent so much time, so much of my life being a mom or a wife and a daughter, like I said before. So I was really finding my own. And I was like, and I also went on my first real girls trip. Once again, I've always been a mom. I've always been a wife. And, I didn't have those moments as an adult. Girls trip. So I went on my first girls trip with my friend Casey for her birthday. We went to the Dive Motel in Tennessee, honey. It was an experience. It was really nice. And she's a Gemini. She's very eccentric, and she takes me out of my comfort zone. And that was fun. And while I was on that trip, I think Ron and I really bonded, because at this point, you know, we had started being intimate. You know, we had took things to another level at that point. It took us a minute, but by the end of May, we were getting to the kissing phase. You know, we were becoming more intimate. Like I said, we moved kind of slowly, well, especially for me, but we were getting to that intimate phase of our relationship. And so when I went on that trip with Casey, I remember us texting and him being like, if you tell me to come, if you say right now, come to Tennessee, I will stop everything and come where you at. Girl, honey, I was smitten. I was smitten. And when I'm smitten, I don't care if you are Morris Chestnut. If I'm smitten, and the man that I'm talking to is away from me, he ain't got to worry about nothing. Once again, you could be Morris Chestnut. That's like the ultimate good looking man to me in my head. You could be him. You could be the man from 365 days. If you know, you know. And I won't look at you twice. Because once I'm in, I'm in. And girl, he had me. He had me. Them text messages. And I believed him. He's a Virgo like me, and we're pretty straightforward and honest. Like, we say what we mean, and we mean what we say. And when he said that, I knew he meant, if you tell me to come, I'm coming. And honey, the only reason I didn't tell him to come is because this was my friend's birthday, and honey, I don't put men before my friends. Like, so, but other than that, like, just him saying that was enough for me. And girl, then we head into June and July, and it was over with. It was over with.
It's a disastrous beauty. Yes, you just came into it.